Welcome to our YouTube channel. So in this particular session we'll be discussing about cut cubes and open dices. These types of questions, so it puts a lot of stress on your mind, but it'll be easier when you develop that particular skill of visualizing figures through the visual bend of your mind. So in this particular session we'll go through different types of questions of cubes test, and then at the end you will be able to solve all the questions based on cubes and dices. So first let us start how to deconstruct the cube. This will make the visualization of a cube much easier. So when you deconstruct the cube, you'll get a figure like the first image which is shown here. So here you can see a cross-shaped figure, and one end it is slightly longer than the other end. So one important thing you should remember from this figure is that the square which is at the end of longer end, it forms the top of the cube, and the middle one, so here this is the middle one, you can see. So this forms the base of the cube, that is the bottom of the cube, while the other four, it will remain as sides of a cube. Remember this always. So if you remember this concept, then the problems of open dices becomes much easier for you to solve. So and also try to imagine this figure in your mind always when you are solving such kind of problems. And now the squares which are adjacent to each other in the figure will also be adjacent to each other in the cubes. You can look here, the three ends of the cross and the middle one of the longest end will be adjacent to lateral faces of the square. So now you should be able to clearly visualize the cube and its 6 faces in your mind. So you can see here, this is the bottom, this part, and these are the side parts. So you can imagine this as right position, this as front, this as left, and this as back. So if this is bottom portion, and obviously this will be a top portion. So remember this figure and imagine yourself in your mind while solving problems. So this is a given question. You have to just deconstruct the cube and you have to find the opposite number of 5. So in the first figure, so it is just like the dice which we have deconstructed. So by seeing this you can tell this is the bottom and this will be the top. And if this is right and this forms a left portion, and if this forms a front portion and this forms a back portion. So can you imagine the dice? So then your dice looks in this way. Top portion as 6, right as 4, and to the front it will have 5. So it is clear that bottom and top, it will be opposite to each other. So the opposite to 3 will be 6. And we also know that left and right are opposite. Opposite to 2 will be 4. And we are left out only with 1 and 5. And obviously they will be opposite numbers. And this is your second question. Find the opposite of 5 here also. Can you imagine how to reconstruct this dice? So there is no longer part. You can't find a base. In this situation, how you are gonna solve this problem? So from the first figure, it is clear that alternate to one another, they will be of opposite. So from this first sum, it is clear that 2 and 4 will be opposite to each other and 3 and 5 will be opposite to each other, and remaining 1 and 6 will be opposite to each other. So you can cross check it by reconstructing this figure in your mind like a dice. So you can consider 3 or 4 as a base, then fold the dice. If you have considered 4 as a base, then 5 will be the front part and 6 will be the right part. So if this is front and 3 will be back of 5, it is the back position, and 2 will be the top position, and the remaining 1 will be in left position. So try to analyze this dice so you can solve it very easily. So this is a given figure. You have to find the opposite of 2. So from the previous two examples, we are clear that the alternate numbers will be opposite. So here 1 and 4 will be opposite and 3 and 5 will be opposite. The remaining 2 and 6, it will be obviously opposite. So the opposite number of 2 is 6. Next question. This is the given dice. Now we have to find how many dices are possible. So what they are asking you to find exactly. So they have given options as 4 figures. So which of this dice is possible when the given dice is folded? So it is clear that D and C will be opposite to each other, A and B will be opposite to each other, and F and E will be opposite to each other. So in the first figure you can see D and C, they are not on opposite faces, but they are on adjacent faces. Therefore option 1 is wrong. So keep eliminating like this. So from the second figure, you can see all are different alphabets. So opposite of F is E. While you can see F, E is not visible because they both are in opposite faces. And you can see A but not B, and D, and you can't see C. So then this is a possible dice. So but in the option they have given only 1, 2, 1 and 4, 1, 2, 3 and 4. So we know 1 is not possible. So you can eliminate first option, third option as well as the fourth option. And the right answer is only 2. So what is wrong with the other 2 dice? So you can see F and E. They are opposite to each other. So this is also not possible. And A and B, they are opposite to each other, and therefore fourth option is also not possible. Therefore only 2 is the right answer. So similar one, let's solve how many dices are possible. So we know A and D will be opposite, E and B will be opposite, and obviously we are left out with F and C, and they will be opposite to each other if we reconstructed this dice. So see in the first dice, A is there, C is there, and E is there. There is a possibility that this 3 can be adjacent, whereas an alphabet or a symbol or a number that is opposite to the dice, it cannot be adjacent to the dice. So when you see one number or an alphabet, you cannot see the opposite of the dice. So that is a very simple logic you have to remember. So the dice 1 is possible, and from the dice B, you can see this is also possible because no opposite alphabets are present. DA. So this condition is not possible. D and A, it is opposite. It cannot be adjacent. And C and F. Even these are adjacent, it should be opposite. And therefore, option B, 1 and 2 is possible. So here's our final question. This is also based on cut dices. A bigger cube, it is painted yellow on each of its face. Now the cube is cut into 216 identical pieces, making minimum number of cuts. So how many of the smaller cubes will have exactly 3 faces painted? So it is said that we have one bigger cube and all the sides are painted yellow. And now the cube, it is cut into 216 identical pieces. So 216 identical pieces means totally the dice will have 6 faces. So divide this by 6, you get 36 pieces on one face. So if 36 faces means square root of 36 is equals to 6. So there are 6 pieces in each line. 1, 2, 3, 4 horizontal as well as vertically. So this is the front part. This is only one face I am showing you. How many of the smaller cubes will have exactly 3 faces painted? So the similar face will also be at the back. 3, 4, 5 and 6. 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. And also at the top. 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. At corners, every dice will have 3 faces. So totally we have 8 corners. And the smaller cubes which will have exactly 3 faces painted is 8. And this doesn't change for any number of values the dice is being cut. And how many smaller cubes will have exactly 2 faces? So you can see here, the corner will be 3 and the top, this will be 2. So on one edge we have 4 2 faces painted. So in a dice, totally we have 12 edges. And therefore, 48 cubes will be painted 2 faces. And we have to find how many of the smaller cubes will have exactly 1 face painted. So the corners will be 3 face painted and the edges, it will have 2 faces painted. And remaining the middle ones, 1, 2, 3 and 4. 4 into 4, 16. So in one face, 16 cubes will be 1 face painted. So totally it has 6 faces. 16 into 6 is equals to 96. So 96 cubes will have exactly 1 face painted. So this is how you have to solve the problems based on cubes and dices. So keep practicing the sums so that you get perfect. So in the next session, let's discuss about some other topic. Thank you.